You had some questions about your second assignment?
Yes, I do. The second assignment is about writing the blog. Now, personally, I'm not a blogger. I've never written any blog in my life, but so I just don't really see a point of why do we need to write a blog for a placement project.
Now, Dennis, it's absolutely okay that you have not written blogs before. There'll be many students who have not written blogs before. So that's absolutely fine, okay? I don't expect my students to be professional blogger anyways. But tell me one thing, do you often think about things when they happen in general in life?
Yes, I do. I mean, sometimes I do think about, in terms of basketball, sometimes I do tend to think about how I play for my games.
Do you think about that, oh, I've done this error, so I'll try not to do it, or I've learned this thing from this game and I'll try and incorporate that? Do you happen to have these questions in your mind a few times?
All the time, because I mean, that's what makes you a better player.
Exactly. That is what you just mentioned, that thinking about things makes you a better player. Exactly the same way, the purpose of writing a blog is to think about an instance which has happened and think through it in detail, following the guidelines which we have given you, so that you can become a better professional.
Right. So, but then how do I write a blog?
So we have given you a detailed guideline on the course book about how you should be writing a blog. But to make it even more simpler, I just developed this acronym, which is IRLR. So you need to remember these 4 letters.
IRLR.
Precisely. To make it even more simpler, it's like I, Raj, love reading.
Right, okay.
So what these 4 components stand for is, the first one, I, is the instance. Any thought-provoking instance which you have observed, or any story which has touched you while you were at the placement journey, you need to describe it very briefly as the first component. Okay? Once you have done that, the second very important component is relevance. So how is that relevant to your organization and to you? So you need to describe that in detail. Once you have done that relevance, then you need to come on the third very important component, which is learning. So what have you learned from this whole story? And finally, the most important component is the resources. So what else you could do to improve yourself on that particular skill is what you need to describe in the resource towards the end.
I see. So just making sure I am on the right track. I'll try to repeat myself.
Absolutely,
repeat
go
what
ahead.
you just said. So it's firstly, IRLR. Firstly, I need to describe an issue, an incident that has happened during my placement.
Exactly. Anything thought-provoking which has captured your attention, which you observed, which you found interesting, you need to describe that.
Cool. After that, I will then need to make relevance of the incidents to either myself or the placement.
Exactly.
Or the organization.
To both. So you need to talk about how exactly that instance is relevant to the organization and to you personally as well.
So I need to describe it in a way to both.
Exactly.
Okay, then the next one's learning, and I have also need to describe and discuss what have I learned from this incident.
Exactly.
And lastly, I will also need to identify resources that can help me to improve or better learn on this particular area.
You got it.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. Now, lastly, is that I understand it's a blog. How formal do I need to write for a blog?
Now, blogs, because the main aim is to capture your thought process, what you observed, what you felt about it, what you learned from it, and how you will improve. So it's very personal. So you don't have to be super formal in your writing. Blogs can be informal, and you also don't really need academic references, because it's your thought process which is captured and which is reflected in that piece of writing which you have done. So you don't really need academic references as well, Dennis.
Okay, I see. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Cheers.